Many of the old media people have put on their knee pads when talking about this. There was a story from NPR. Who the hell's listening to that? They posted a story saying that the football great Orenthal James Simpson, known as OJ, has died. There was no mention of the fact that he chopped two people's heads off. He left that out. The New York Times, there was an outcry. They wrote that O.J. Simpson had his world ruined by being charged with double murder. That was in the obit. How do you think the people he killed felt about that? Of course, they left on the cutting room floor the fact that Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown were turned into human Pez dispensers, but don't let that get in the way of a good story. So why did this happen? Right? Why did we get this kind of media coverage? It's easy to take shots at the media. It's easy to do. But many are following the teachings of Sparta, not the guy that works here, but one of the 7 sages of Greece. And I actually looked this back because this has bothered me, not just OJ, but other people that have been real dirtbags have died, and you don't really hear about it when they drop dead. You don't hear about it when they drop dead. So this goes back to the 6th century BC. Old Sparta, we'll call him, is credited with the Latin phrase, which translated means, of the dead, nothing but good is to be said. We've all heard that phrase, right? How do you become an angel? Drop dead. People only say good things about you. And in layman's terms, it's rather obvious what it means, but I'll spell it out if you're a little tired and not paying attention. It means that it is socially inappropriate for the living to speak ill of the dead who cannot then defend or justify themselves. Kind of like when I was raised, like it's a good mitzvah to go to a funeral because they cannot repay you because they're dead. So I've gone to way too many funerals over the years. But in terms of OJ, I think that old Sparta would approve. If you had the hot tub time machine and went back, old Sparta would be okay with that. Right? I say phooey to that. There is no way to tell the OJ life without mentioning the murders in the early 90s. And then in 1997, the civil jury found O.J. liable for wrongful death in the double murder. Now, secondly, can you put into context the impact of the O.J. Simpson story on sports fandom? So it was a wild time, and it's been so long that a lot of people that have come of age in recent years and become grown-ups and entered the world, they were like little kids. They didn't really watch it and all that, and was that long ago when it happened. I was in school. I was driving to the college radio station the day that the chase was going on. And it actually started in Orange County. OJ was, a lot of people don't know this part of the story, but they were trying to find him. They didn't know where he was. He had gone to the cemetery. There was a memorial service for Nicole Brown at the cemetery in Orange County, and OJ was there, and I guess he got cut off, and then there was the highway patrol started a chase, which became one of the defining moments for many people in their experience. But it was obviously, it was a game changer, but it was a different time, right? We lived in a time before social media, before streaming, and we all got the news from legacy news media, and there were the main show. There was cable television and stuff like that, but it was, you were watching television, or that was it. You were getting stuff off the radio, thank God for that. But OJ at the time was still the golden boy. He was a network broadcaster for NBC. He's a sideline reporter, had worked the playoff game shortly before that, an Oilers game, and a beloved pitchman. Had that going for him, right, and all that. And then, poof, lickety-split, it all went away. But depending on your age, O.J. Simpson's rampage, the police chase, the trial, all of those are in the same basket for Waterloo moments. Now, I was doing college radio. I was interning. I got a job as a radio reporter around that time. And my friend, Norm Peters, he's now retired. He lives in Florida. Norm had a seat in the O.J. Simpson courthouse. My friend Norm was in there every day, and he'd go out and cover the trial, and then he would come out to Dodger Stadium. I was covering the team at the time, and he would tell me what was going on, like give me inside stuff on Judge Ito and the O.J. trial. And so I was getting like good stuff. I was getting good information because he's in the courtroom, like stuff that didn't show up on camera. But the coverage was so over the top that the Knickerbockers, the New York Knicks, this is how long ago it was. They were in the finals with Patrick Ewing. I believe they played the Rockets, if I remember correctly, in the NBA Finals, and they put that on box and box. They had a small box of the NBA Finals, and they put the O.J. Chase on there. But that trial, when the trial happened a couple years later, it was like a year later, I think the trial was, and that trial had 150 million people watching, more than half of the population of the United States, 57% of the population. You can't get 10% of the population to watch anything other than a Super Bowl these days. But OJ got away with it at the time, right? We know he got away with it. We know what happened. Only to go to jail for all stupid things. Every time I'm in Vegas, I drive by the hotel where OJ went in to steal his sports memorabilia, and I always point. I say, that's where it happened. That's where OJ. That's where he went to jail for 10 years or whatever it was, stealing sports memorabilia. Like, what is that? Like Palace Station, I believe, was the hotel, if I remember correctly. But wacky ending. All right, final thought. So now that OJ is dead, what happens to the money? So there have been some new developments in this over the weekend you might have missed. 27 years ago, as we mentioned, O.J. Simpson was ordered to pay $33.5 million in damages to the Brown and Goldman families for wrongful death, murder, which is wrong. So will O.J. Simpson and the estate of O.J. Simpson, will it be able to fight paying the wrongful death settlement money out now that OJ's checked out? So I guess the way I would answer that, does a cow have udders? The effort is being made, but the effort to block the money being paid is also being made. O.J. Simpson, his longtime lawyer, this guy Malcolm Laverne. Have you seen this guy? Typical central casting kind of sleazeball lawyer. That's what he looks like to me. It's my opinion. You can't sue for an opinion. Kind of looks like that, the whole thing. So this guy Malcolm Laverne did a couple of interviews, and he's digging into the foxhole. At least that's his public position here. He said that he will be fighting to prevent the families from getting any of the money. And OJ doesn't have $33.5 million, but he's got, from what I heard over the weekend, he's got millions of dollars that he squirreled away in different places because of the pension. And there were some rich guys that still loved OJ and gave him things and took care of OJ, from what I understand. Anyway, the attorney, this guy Laverne, he said, listen, he said it was like, I think the term he used was like a Hollywood judgment or something like that, or celebrity judgment. But we're not experts, but we do hang out on the radio, so we have the power of the microphone here. And we're not experts in estate law. But I unfortunately had a lot of people in my life that have died over the years, so I know a little bit about it based on that and how it works. There are tricks that you can use. It's a high-stakes game of hide and seek. And OJ knew, if you believe the tabloids, and they were right, OJ denied it, but the tabloids were right. He knew he had a death sentence back in January. So he had several months to get his affairs in order. And it's more probable than not that OJ took steps through his attorney to make sure the money was transferred to other parties. So it will look, if my assumption is right, it'll look like OJ had nothing, because anything that he had in the days before he met his demise was passed on to other people and transferred and all that. So it's a shell game. It's a game of hide and seek, and we'll see if he was successful in his death.